Hi guys, thanks for making it to the final video of the series where we're talking about retargeting. Retargeting is such a powerful method to implement for digital marketing, for shows, for expos, and I'm excited to share this section with you. First off, let's do a bit of an explanation of what retargeting is. So when an individual visits a website, so you're browsing around, you visit a site, and then you navigate away from that site, what can happen is you start to see products or services from that initial website that you visited start popping up and advertising around the internet. And that occurs because you've been cookied. You've probably heard this before, website cookies. Essentially, the website that you visited, they embedded a little bit of code into your browser, and they can now serve you ads across the internet. It's a very broad or very general description of retargeting. And the way they're able to do this is because they might have a Google Analytics or a Facebook Pixel set up, or they might have a Google Ads retargeting pixel, Pinterest, Twitter, LinkedIn. A lot of different channels and services offer retargeting capabilities. So essentially what it boils down to is you visit a website, and on that website, that company has some sort of back-end service which allows them to kind of follow you around. And I'm sure you've felt that, felt followed around before on the internet. A lot of times it will happen with things like hotels, anything you do on Amazon. Amazon spends a lot of money on Facebook retargeting. So you'll generally see that. So hotels, anything tourist related or vacation related, e-commerce. So if you visit a store and you're looking at plants for your balcony, for your office, so you might be visiting other blogs, other websites, or other you might be on Twitter or Facebook or Pinterest and whatnot. And you start to see the products, or you start to see the website you were just on. You might have been on Paul's Plant Shop, and now you're seeing him pop up everywhere. Hey, come back. Hey, here's a 10% off discount coupon, that kind of stuff. So that's essentially what retargeting is. You visiting somewhere, or a person visiting a website, and then kind of get followed around after that, with the website generally the business trying to get you to do something, right? Get you to come back, finish your purchase, come back and register for their webinar or register for something. And one example that I mentioned just before, Amazon. Amazon spent a lot of money on Facebook ads. They are one of the premier kind of spenders on Facebook. And so when you when you're searching on Amazon for something, you might add something to your cart or add something to a list. There's a very, very, very high likelihood that you're going to end up seeing those products shown back to you on Facebook. And that's part of Amazon's strategy. The retargeting strategy is to get you coming back and purchasing that. So you might be asking, why is retargeting important? And you might have heard this before, but on average, it's going to take you take businesses generally 7 interactions between you and a prospect for them to become a customer or for them to make a purchase. Instead of having to reach out cold, so in terms of, let's say, having a TV ad, having a radio ad, having a billboard, and then hoping that they drive past the billboard whilst maybe listening to your radio ad and then going home and seeing your ad on TV. Instead of hoping for those 3 things to occur to get you up to 7 or closer to 7, retargeting kind of manufactures those interactions at a lot higher frequency. So in our example, someone visits a website, that might be, let's just say that's their first interaction with the brand. The store wants another 6 before they could expect a purchase from you. So retargeting allows them to hit you a couple more times with ads to hopefully get that get that purchase from you. Now, sometimes you might buy on the first purchase, sometimes you might buy on the 15th. That 7 is kind of an average. It's important, retargeting is important because you want to be top of mind. You want to encourage people and remind them why they visited you in the first place. So someone's generally interacted with you for a reason, whether that's watch your video. So if they've watched 50% of your video and now you're retargeting them because of that, they've shown some interest, right? So maybe your retargeting strategy is getting them to come back and watch the next 50%, or just checking out some details on your website, or even just buying a ticket. So that's why it's important. You want to build up those 7 interactions so people start to know, like, and trust you, and then they can then purchase. Another great benefit of retargeting is it's actually a lot cheaper running retargeting campaigns than cold traffic. Now, the reason behind that is Google and Facebook and other online platforms, what they really want to do is show people great content. So they want a great user experience, right? There's no point, like Facebook would go out of business if all the ads they showed were terrible. That's the problem with television advertising, is most of the time it's not relevant. It's just spraying stuff out there. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've seen a State Farm commercial or a car ad, and I'm not in the market for a car. I'm not going to buy a $70,000 SUV. So there's no point showing me that ad. With retargeting, it's powerful because you're only allowed to run these type of campaigns when someone has shown interest in you. So what that essentially means with these platforms like Google and Facebook is they're going to charge you less because your content has been shown to be of some value to their customers, to the people on Facebook scrolling through, right? So you're scrolling through. If you start seeing things that are relevant to you because you've been on that website, you're more likely to click, you're more likely to have a positive experience with Facebook and Google. That's what they want. So because of that, you get charged less. And generally your performance is a little bit better because people like you already. So that's a kind of techie, I try to keep it non-techie explanation in terms of why it costs less. But the main reason why retargeting is great is the initial 7 touches, 7 interactions that you want to get up with your prospects. The second point I want to touch on is creative retargeting. Now, what this means is with retargeting, you can actually start layering your campaign strategies. So instead of just saying, I want to show this ad to everyone who's visited my website, you can say, well, I want to show this ad to people who visited my website in the last 3 days. I want to show another ad with people who visited 3 to 5 days ago. And then this other ad, people on days 6 and 7. Then after that, I don't want to retarget them anymore. So you can it's kind of like segmenting, right? Or building a different persona. So people who are under 3 days since visiting your site, they may be a little bit fresher. They may be a little bit more, they need a reminder. Hey, come back. You've left something. Versus people 3 to 5 days, maybe they need an offer, or maybe they need something a little bit more to get them over the edge. So that might be a free shipping offer. Finally, you might try something a little bit harder, a little bit more thicker in terms of an offer. And that might be a 15% off coupon before you let them go. They're probably not going to buy after 7 days. Now, another thing I want to touch on is the timelines of retargeting. So short, medium, and long-term retargeting is how I've kind of described it in the guide here. And shows and expos, I believe, can implement short, medium, and long-term retargeting strategies to help them achieve their business goals, which is obviously why I had it in this guide here. So short-term retargeting can be reminding website visitors who haven't purchased tickets to come back and buy tickets. So very obvious, very entry level. This is something that is kind of a must do in 2019 and beyond. And this is generally a 1 to 4 week strategy or in the lead up to your event. So depending on how long out you allow ticket purchases. So some people might allow 6-7 months out ticket sales, versus others might wait and leave it for 3 weeks out, for example. Now, let's say that you're a show who does allow ticket purchases 6 months out. 6 months is a lot of time, and you're probably going to need some kind of nurturing sequence or reminder sequence to ensure that people remember that they bought tickets for your show, but also keep that excitement going, right? You can allow it to dip a little bit, but you don't want people to forget and have a poor experience. So the worst thing you could do is sell someone a ticket, then not remind them. They don't turn up, and then they realize, hey, I spent $40 on these 2 tickets, and I forgot to attend. I want a refund, or I'm unhappy. So a medium-term retargeting strategy might be, I buy a ticket for a show in December, and for 6 months, I'm reminded on the show. I'm given shown ads about different vendors that are at the show, perhaps photos for previous events, stuff like that, to kind of keep me updated on the happenings with the show, and hopefully keep my excitement up as well. Now, the long-term retargeting is where a business can really see some great results. As the saying goes, you probably heard this before, it's much harder to get a new customer than retain a current one, right? So with retargeting, you can easily retain current customers by staying top of mind, by staying relevant with them. So for example, a wedding expo held every spring, and the marketing team decides to run an ad on Facebook, spending $2,500 in the lead up to the 2019 show. They see great results from the ad, with 50,000 video views to the 32,000 people in the 40-mile radius around the venue. Lots of numbers. Hope you're keeping up. So 40-mile radius, 32,000 people in there. The video was watched 50,000 times. Now, fast forward to the show next year in 2020. They decided to do 2 things. Firstly, they run a similar video for $1,500 to the same targeting and radius around their venue. And they'll also run a second video showing images from last year's show with the copy, "Don't miss out this year," to users who watched last year's video who they kept engaged with other content throughout the year but didn't purchase tickets. Now, the caveat here is Facebook has a 180-day audience window at the moment. So what this means is, if I watch a video for one of your shows or events on Facebook, I watch a video and I get put in an audience. So Facebook says, "Jared, you've watched this video, you're going to here." I stay in the audience for 180 days. The thing is, if you're going to use this strategy, you have to nurture this audience, right? You have to keep running it. So that might be for the minimum is $5 a day. So you might run this audience video maybe once a month for a week, just to keep it engaged, keep it nurtured. And the power with that is you're keeping the 50,000 video views. You're keeping those people. It's like an email list, right? I'm sure you have an email list for your show. You're maintaining that email list, and it'd be like getting an email list for your next show, and then once it's over, you throw that out, and then you start from scratch the next show. If you're able to nurture that audience over the year or over the period between show 1 and show 2, in that gap in between, if you're able to nurture them, you're really going to see some great results for that next show. And then I'm sure you could imagine, once you extrapolate that out over show to show, year to year, your results are really taking off. So that's a kind of long-term, more advanced strategy that is going to pay off. It is a little bit more complicated and does require a investment when traditionally I'm sure you're not used to spending money on marketing in your off season. Too much marketing budget in the off season. So jumping into the Florida Food Festival retargeting, they're being held on early March. Tickets will go on sale on 2nd of January. The marketing team run a pre-sale campaign to get the momentum going, offering 250 heavily discounted tickets through Facebook. So they see great results from that. They're selling scarcity. So there's only 250 discounted tickets. So what happens is they build a really nice audience, a decent way out from their show, and they can re-engage people who aren't able to buy one of those 250 tickets. So they set up 2 retargeting campaigns. So one is to encourage people who watched the video more than 25% and didn't purchase / couldn't purchase to buy a full price ticket or other package. I hope that kind of makes sense. So essentially you're showing your video to people. If they buy, that's great. They go into retargeting group number 2. If they couldn't purchase a ticket, they go into retargeting group number 1. They say, hey, Jared, unfortunately, you missed out. Sorry, there was only 250 early bird tickets. That's a shame. You can actually buy full price tickets here if you want. Here's the link. Or maybe you want our silver package or gold package where you get fast entry and a free car park. Or fast entry, $40 in food vouchers and discounted car parks, something like that. The second retargeting group, we kind of do what I mentioned previously on the last page, is you would nurture those early ticket buyers, continue the excitement, the anticipation, and keep them involved with the show until it's time for them to attend. And then we have a little bit here about in the first campaign, the marketing team shows ads that contain the key benefits to the ladies wine group persona that we're targeting. And they also show ads aimed at quelling any concerns that they might have. So there's that messaging that we spoke about in the other sections. In the section 4 is what do you like, what do you love, and what are you concerned about, and what benefits do you get from attending the show. So that's where we start to marry those up. The second campaign includes ads with countdowns to the event, vendor spotlights, and further discount options to encourage bringing friends, i.e. 2-for-1 pricing. So what you can do is, a lot of times these early ticket buyers or early birds, there's a lot of excitement there, right? Maybe they're the easiest ones to sell tickets to. Well, what can happen is they might also be the best people to become your sales team. So if you start sending out coupons for them, or if you start sending out upgrades for them to promote, that can really boost your ticket sales as well. So for example, you might email them their ticket, and you might also say, hey, we know, thanks for buying and showing your interest so early on. Unfortunately, there was only 250 tickets, but we actually have another 500 at a 10% discount or 15% discount, only for the friends and family of the early bird ticket purchases. Here's a link. You can send this out to your family and friends, and they can get discounted tickets as well. So that's another way of kind of nurturing those people, is making them feel great, like, congratulations, you got those early bird tickets. Also, you're so amazing. Here's a discount for all your friends and family. They're amazing too. And overall, both campaigns proved to be quite successful, driving a high number of attendees. And the vendors are happy with the high quality of the ladies wine group persona turning up, especially the wine selling vendors. Okay, so that kind of wraps up all of our sections. Now we have a bit of a recap on the Florida Food Festival. So let me just dive in and kind of give you a refresh on what they did over each section of the guide. So in the first step, the Florida Food Festival identified 3 key personas that they wanted to target for their show. These 3 personas were the sophisticated older couples, young professional couples, and the ladies wine group. Now, each of these personas were mapped out with their attributes using a set of important questions that identify the attitudes of the personas. The ladies wine group, for example, was identified as being woman aged 25 to 58, educated, with their own transport, salaries of at least 45,000 plus. They had various marital statuses from single to married with children, and they would benefit from attending the show by the social aspect. They get to socialize with friends and or meeting new friends. And some of the concerns they have is they're leaving the family for a weekend day, and they may feel guilty about prioritizing herself over perhaps her husband or her family, her kids, that kind of thing. Then the marketing funnel was planned out for the Florida Food Festival. And they chose to target the ladies' wine group through the Facebook ads platform, as it was the most cost-effective and most sophisticated channel to reach this audience. Now, they used a slideshow video across Facebook as well as the integrated Instagram placements. And they also used retargeting to drive ticket sales after the initial brand awareness was done via the video. The pictures and videos were used in the marketing, and they were a mix of stock images as well as images from the previous show. The Florida Food Festival marketing team then used the persona messaging pentagram to write the copy for their ads, web pages, blog posts, and traditional media copy for the ladies' wine group. And by doing so, they were able to speak directly to the needs and concerns that this group had and kind of put them at ease and make them want to attend even more than they may have initially. Multiple ad variations were used and tested, and it was found that the ladies' wine group personas reacted most positively to the ad running with emojis and benefit-driven text in it. Other ads were paused, and the ROI and the media budget increased because the best ad was being prioritized. Now, prior to the launch of the campaigns, FFF understood the need to accurately track the performance of the campaigns, so they implemented correct conversion tracking. They used the URL parameters, and they were able to look back and see the kind of breakdown on website and their website interactions. Finally, they used remarketing or retargeting to engage early ticket purchases and build anticipation in the weeks prior to the festival. Also, pre-ticket sale purchases were encouraged to buy more tickets at a discounted rate to bring along the gal pals. So that kind of thing. Here's a discounted ticket. Why don't you bring someone else? You're great. Why don't you bring someone else? That's great. And another retargeting campaign was used to encourage those who showed interest in the show but couldn't initially buy tickets to do so at a full price. Overall, the 2019 spring show would prove to be successful and would be fully sold out with a high quality attendees attending that accurately matches the types of customers that the festival vendors were hoping to engage with at the show. The marketing budget was also much more efficient with the use of digital channels, and the show producers said they would likely focus marketing spend on Facebook, Google, and other social channels rather than traditional radio and TV in the future. Alright, that kind of wraps that up on our side. It's been great to have you along for the ride on this video series. I hope it's proven valuable. If you want the guide, it's in the description of every video in this series. If you want to reach out to us, you can leave a comment below. Visit our website, fill out the contact form. It's been great having you. And again, I hope it's proven valuable. Best of luck with all of these shows, expos or events in your future. And best of luck implementing the 6 most important things that we spoke about in this guide and in this video series. Take care. Bye.